We've been taught to believe that creativity is this magical thing that some people are born with and some simply aren't. But that's the biggest lie ever told, because I believe that every one of us is able to be creative, with the ability to imagine, build, and bring ideas to life. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about creativity and how to be more creative. But let's talk about what creativity actually is, because there's actual science behind creativity and why some people are more creative than others. If you think about the most creative people who ever lived, like Leonardo da Vinci, who is known for painting some of the most iconic artworks in the world, like the Mona Lisa, or Nikola Tesla, who was famous for being one of the most brilliant inventors and electrical engineers in history, the man who basically powered the modern world. Or Steve Jobs, the man who revolutionized how we interact with technology by turning devices like the iPhone, iPod, and Mac into creative tools for everyone. We think of these people as creative geniuses, people who changed the world, but the thing that we don't really tend to look at is how they were able to achieve that. A lot of people will say is because they're creative, but creativity played a very small part in it. You see, we all have these creative ideas in our minds. What happens if I do this? Or let's see if this will work. That's how humans have evolved over the centuries. It's how we build cities, massive skyscrapers, cars, planes, and so on. Everything had started with this little thought in our mind. Can I do this? The perfect example of this is the Wright brothers, two guys who fix bicycles in a small shop, who one day had an idea of, what if humans could fly? A little thought that popped up into their heads that had changed history. Because one windy morning in 1903, their machine that they'd been working on for over 4 years had finally lifted off the ground. It only flew for about 12 seconds in the air, but that's all it took to change history. The Wright brothers proved to the world that humans were able to fly. And the craziest part, that this only happened 120 years ago. And look how far we came. But the thing that helped the Wright brothers to prove people wrong about flying, the thing that helped Leonardo da Vinci create the most studied pieces of artwork in the world, the thing that helped Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs to achieve all those things, it wasn't creativity. Creativity played a very small part in their accomplishments. The thing that helped them achieve greatness, it was consistency. And the way consistency works is pretty simple. Take this piece of spaghetti for example. If you keep applying pressure to it, eventually it will break. And that's one of the laws of the universe. If you constantly apply pressure onto something, eventually it will break. And that goes into almost everything that we do. If you want to build a stronger body, hitting the gym consistently will help you to achieve it. If you want to get good at painting, practicing consistently will help you to get better. But somewhere along the way, we as humans have lost this spark to be able to stay consistent. We lost the ability to stay focused on tasks that we set out to do. And there are a few reasons to why this is happening. One of them, of course, being that there's just so many distractions nowadays, like social media, TV shows, video games, and mobile phones, and the list goes on. And the reasons why distractions are ruining our ability to be able to create is pretty simple. It's because if we're distracted, then we're not creating. And I can go on and on about how short-form content has ruined our ability to stay focused, and how video games and TV shows are just designed to keep our minds trapped. But you already know all that. So instead, I want to talk to you about how I was able to be more creative and most of all, be able to come up with new ideas. So let's talk about ideas. And where do ideas actually come from? People like to think that ideas just pop into our heads like Jack in a box. Sometimes that happens, but not very often. Most of the time, they come from someone else's idea. In fact, research from University of Oxford found that creativity is mostly combinational, meaning our brains take existing thoughts, mixes them together, and form something new. Just like Picasso once said, good artists copy and great artists steal. And what he means by this is that we all build what came before us. Every song that you love, every film that inspired you, every painting that moved you is all a remix of past ideas, shaped through a new perspective. And almost every single video on this channel came from either watching other creators and getting ideas of their kind of video and just making it into my own. And honestly, that's all it takes sometimes. You see something and you think, ooh, I like that video, or that quote really hit me. Then your mind starts turning and you ask yourself, how can I make my own version of that? And that's where creativity really begins, by taking inspiration and shaping it into your own story. And for the past 3 years, I have been carrying this little notepad with me. And every time I get an idea, whether it's a good or bad, it always goes into the notepad. And the reason for that is simply because my brain is not capable of remembering all the ideas that pop into my mind. So having them written down always helps me to kind of keep track and also not to run out of any ideas. There's a good quote in it. It says, collaboration over competition and service over success. And that already kind of gives me an idea of creating a video about how you should collaborate with other creators instead of trying to always compete with them. Could be my next YouTube video idea. But the problem is not coming up with ideas, it's bringing your ideas to life. When you look at someone's finished work, you automatically think, wow, that person really knows what they're doing. But the truth is, none of us really know what we're doing. When you're in the creative industry, all you're really doing is experimenting, trying different ways to bring your ideas to life. You test new video clips, sound effects, different types of music, just to see what fits. And that's where consistency becomes everything. Because when your ideas don't work out the way that you imagined, you need consistency to keep going, to keep experimenting, to keep adjusting, and to keep that vision alive until it becomes reality. When things don't go as planned, it's so easy to just pack up and quit. But the great creators, people like Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, the Wright brothers, they didn't quit. They just kept showing up. They found new ways to make it work. But most of all, they stayed consistent. And that's literally what creativity is. It's finding the thing that you love to do and just staying consistent with it. Bringing your ideas to life no matter what. No matter if you think that it's going to fail, no matter if you think that people are not going to like it, pushing through all that until you finally have your finished product. And that is literally what creativity is, staying consistent. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Cheerio.